I love mock-up phase. It gives you the opportunity to gain new inspiration, but here now we have, I don't have the window on this side because I figured I'd just get in and give you guys a shot of it. So now I've got the window garnish molding on that side. Just hand tighten the screws in to make sure everything fits right. Console, dash. Doesn't even look like a 1930 if the dasher didn't have the gauges in the center and stuff like that. But so I'm going to hop in here. Hopefully my light doesn't fall. Okay. So that's the VIN tag. They came on the 1930 Chryslers. I just got it back taped. That's all. I did take the opportunity to step this out a little ways. So I built a little crown yesterday, sent it in, and just sat and dollied this because I didn't like how it wasn't perfectly flat. So I spent the time on it and dollied that. Back out. I have that plate to make. You saw from earlier videos, it has the wash down lighting. Spent some time on that. That's not stuck up in there. And my hand up against this area, it's about that big. So it's not a ton of room, but that's the main control area for the bass boost, the heater, temp, and defrost and floor, warm and cold, the headlight switch, a few other things I don't remember right offhand. There'll be a USB on the bottom, so if you plug in your cell phone, you can go direct here. This is also Bluetooth, this display that goes up here. So everything is looking good. The quarters are tight, if I get both my feet in here. Okay. Now I'm touching the panel. Again, everything, not everything is fully secured, but I mean, you can get your feet in there. And it's comfortable. Don't get me wrong, it is comfortable. It's just extremely narrow. But I do love how the wood ties in there. I really think that possibly wood graining that piece might be the winner. So we'll just carry on with it. But I wanted to take a moment. This will be changing to that color. The whole wheel is going to be changing to that color. That's a whole project in and of itself. Because I'm thinking I'm just going to make the steering wheel because I want the steering wheel controls on it, and I want it to tie into the shape back here better. So aprons are on. Now you can kind of see how things flow into the center. So it's very fun and rewarding to see a project where you make all the individual pieces, you're test fitting them, you're pulling it off, test fitting them, pulling them off, and just taking the opportunity to kind of put things in to get a better visual understanding of all the things in your brain that you thought would work. And there's been many that haven't worked over the course of this project, but I feel like, in my estimation, this is going exactly the direction I intended. It's got a kind of a hint of luxury, and it's looking really good. So thanks for hanging with me on the videos. I appreciate any comments that you have to offer. I respond to many comments. Thanks. Working on the 1930. Hood started. That's the inner structure, and just started on the skin. That'll go on this guy here. And I've been concentrating on the interior. So just trying to finish up the pieces. We got the wood accents on the dash. It's all teak wood across the doors. Headliner's in. It's going to have racetrack LED lit on the perimeter, and finished up the door panels. Just got to get the color and the interior color, the wraps on them, the vinyl wrap, and get everything covered. So very happy with the progress so far. She's rolling right along. All right, I've got all the brackets made now for the headliner, front and rear. And you can see I've got a snap mounted there. Drilled holes through the whole thing. I better go around and turn the light on. There. And I have a snap right there. So those are canvas tarp snaps. So what they do is they provide the what I call the racetrack, but they provide that panel from slipping side to side, you know, where you've got your standard clips that'll go fill in the rest of the field. Those will center it on the front and the back, positively located. Okay. And so what I'm doing is I've made the piece. It's got the roof curve in it. We'll start on the bottom. So now what I've done is I bonded 2 layers of 1/8 inch hardboard together. In the first layer, I put the clips in and countersunk them just a little bit, and then panel bonded the 2 together. Okay. Then I bonded, this isn't a panel bond, this is a high strength adhesive that's used in like shower surrounds and things like that. Because I'm on that surface, I wanted some good fill. I could have used panel bond, but this stuff is very easy to clean up on the edges. You can see where I've swiped it out with the razor blade. And that reveal, this reveal right here, runs all the way around. It's 1/4 of an inch. And what it allows me to do then is to mount in my perimeter lighting. So that's 2 1/8 inch, well, what are they? 125. So those are like, I don't know, less, 118, something like that, 120. But I stacked 2 of them. And then I got these 3mm LEDs. This is a 16-foot roll, cuttable at, I don't remember, 17 inches or some metric number. And then, so those will run underneath there. This will be the show side. Those will run underneath there. But the other reason for going to 1/4 of an inch in thickness, roughly, is to get away from the headliner as much as possible, so my perimeter lighting will shine out. Then I've taken the top now, and this is 1/8 inch foam, closed cell foam. And this is cork, because I wanted the strength in cork. And then I've got the model of the car. Kind of hard to see, but all kinds of classics, AKK. Just my symbol in there. This is the front, so it'll stand proud of the headliner slightly, you know, by a small fraction of an inch. So basically what I did was, this is 1 layer of cork, 16th inch cork. This is a layer of 16th on top of that layer, and this is a double stacked layer on top of that. So it steps up 3/16 in total. And the letters, see, they can overlap each other and still show definition when I emboss the vinyl over the top of it. So I'm just getting prepared. I just finished gluing it up, and I thought you guys would want to see a quick video on it. I've snapped it in. It snaps in good and tight. It holds up the center of the headliner very, very well. And I'm very happy with the progress so far. Thanks. Well, I got things blown apart again. I ordered up a set of seat belts, just laps, because as you can see, the only thing I have is a post there and putting and this seat goes even farther back. For me, it goes farther back in a comfortable position. Excuse me. And the shoulder harness just won't accommodate. I'd have to mount it up in that area, and it would encroach the suicide door. It'd just be in the way. So I opted out of that. But what I did is I mounted on the front seats. I mounted that in the standard location is the other one, and on the side I ran them down to the seat mount. Basically, I'm bridging the frame. I'm mounted rigidly with a 10 gauge down through the seat, the 4 bolts on the seat, but through the frame down into the floor. And you can see these aren't snapped together. But the whole point is that then I just routed them up carefully. I had to do some forming of sheet metal, and so they're coming underneath. Well, here I can kind of show you. You can see this sheet metal here. There's just a 3-inch wide trough that goes down to the seatbelt mount, and then up here, this screws on the side, and that guides it back from the 3 inches down to the 2-inch, the width of the seatbelt. And the reason for that is, you need 3 inches to get that through, and you need. I'm a little dirty, and then you need to get it down to 2 inches so it doesn't retract down and all the way down. Those worked out great. You can see I found 77 to 79 Dodge Colt. Couldn't believe it. I found 4 in excellent shape. And so I'm going to figure out what I'm going to do for pulls on these doors. They can't interfere with the seats, but I'm going to figure out how I'm going to get that done. Probably won't have them on the back door. Maybe wind up being armrests on the rear door. Don't know yet. Just feeling it out. So now I pulled the console out, and I'm looking at what I can do to get that faceplate done. And I'm sorry I didn't bring you through this. This is something that I've been doing off and on many, 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 many times. Just kind of spiraling. I'd go to the salvage yard. I'd get some switches. I'd go to the Jungle website. I'd get some switches, whether they be toggle or whatever. But for me, the constant thing was that I needed continuity. It had to have continuity. It had to look OEM. So what I came up with is a drawing where I was using all round dials. Okay. And in this case, these are 1 inch round. In this case, these are going to 25 millimeter round. And these are going to be 16 or 18 millimeter round, a little bit smaller. And then my USB. And that's how it packages. Now, each switch, then I just ordered off these knobs, and they're guitar knobs, but they're a really nice knurled finish, right? And that is a rubber O-ring with little traction notches on it. There you go. That covers up. There they are. You install those after you get the set screw put in, and then they wind up covering up the set screw right there. So you can position, they're all 4/4 inch posts, and there you go, you have it. So these will all be the same. The details, that I'll print the headlight, and I'll have the position. I never put a marker on here, but for turning, on and off the interior lights, post style headlight switch, dash dimmer. In this case, this is going to control the cold or warm on the heat, and the floor or defrost. And it'll have an on and off position. So that's off, that's on. And what this is, that's defrost, that's floor, that's hot, and that's cold. And maybe some of you can dream up where this switch came from. Because I'm running stepper motors just to basically, you saw the stepper motor several episodes ago that I'm just opening up ducts on the heater. In this case, I'm opening up the valve for the water flow. And 2-position switch, off, on. In theory, that's what it is. I'll show you that in a minute. And then this is just the fan control that came with it. Fan off. And it's a potentiometer. It's an electronic pot though, and it controls the ground to control the voltage to the fan on the heater box. It came with it. Down on this row, then we'll have our stereo volume. Now, this is an in and out 1/8" jack. Cut the front off of it. Just purchased this off the Jungle website. 1/8" jack. It's got a little standoff on the side, comes up and keys it. And if you remember right, everything in this is coming off of that head unit up there. Okay, that's running back to the amp. And so before I go down to the preamp signal, I will run that jack. Currently, I'm running it all the way back to the amp, but I'll run it down to here. Whoops. To here on the in, and then out to the amp. So that'll be my volume control. This is my bass control. It came with the subwoofer, the powered subwoofer, and so I can turn up or down my bass. And it too is basically just a printed circuit board. These two are very similar. All they are is pots. See, it's a potentiometer. In this case, a pot with a resistor, and again an our 1/8" jack. But this is a 3-post jack, so it runs back there, but it's got ground power and line in, ground, and then line out. Basically, it's a 3-ring jack, and all I did, this printed circuit board only used. You can see the schematic right on the board. This real estate up here was waste. It's not even. You can see maybe a hint of copper on the ground plane. That's this plane right here. But I'm using the original enclosures, running this up through, and running that setup. So that's how that's going to work. So everything will be integrated. And again, these are very similar. The sweep is the same on the pots. In fact, the pots look like they're the same potentiometers. They're identical to each other. But so the sweep is the same. So they'll have similar signals, be labeled differently. And then, of course, these will have the standard automotive symbols with the colors in that. And then finally, a USB port. Now, flipping it over, you got a standard GM Chrysler headlight switch. These are just screwed in, but I mean, I just assembled this for this show. Ran into a 3-pin connector, and then this mess here, I'm labeling where these wire feeds go, but I'm not using 1, 2, 3, 4. No, I'm using that one. I'm not using these 3 wires, but I'm using these 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 wires. Basically what this is a mirror switch for a late 90s Dodge. I'm sure GM and others used them, but this was before the days where you had a center off, click to the left mirror, click off, click to the right mirror. This was just left or right mirror. So I'm using basically the controls for the mirror motors to go tilt your mirror up or down or left or right. I'm just using that left or right, those leads to control this, and that up or down to control that. They're just very, small, low, extremely low current stepper motors. So that's basically how this is. And then when you put it in the left position, those wires are dead. And I'll clean it up in the back, but this is where my invention went. So it's just basically off. There's no power going to anything. You turn it on, and you've got the heater controls turned on. Same thing. So every one of these have an off position. This is a pole switch, obviously, and every one of them has an index. The sweep on this one's 270, where the sweep on that's 90, and the sweep on that is, like 280, 290. But it's going to wind up staying there for the most part, right? Unless you don't like your dash lights that bright. So I ordered the 16 millimeters in the same design, knurled finish, hidden Allen screw, and this will need to get finished out. This is 1/8 inch aluminum, and I basically just drew out a template, put my center marks in it, and progressively work toward this piece, cutting it out. So it'll get finished. I don't know if I'm going to wrap it. I don't know what the color is going to be. I don't know anything yet, but I do know it's going to have all the symbols, and I have to arrive at that process somehow here. So again, I apologize for not covering this in more detail over the course of the build, but this has been picked up and put down 20 or 30 times over the last 4 or 5 months. So I just today decided I'm gonna print that out and cut it. So that's where we're at. All right, back on the headliner, and I pulled it out. I took a spade bit on every one of the holes and plunged about 1/16 of an inch, about half the material thickness. Dropped all of the metal clips in, and then hit it with panel bond. I even put panel bond there because it leaked. But no big deal. I'll hit it with the roll-lock disc and take it down. And then if there's any other minor, anything minor is going to cover because it's a foam-backed headliner. But if there's an impression or something that needs to be removed, I'll just fill it with a body filler. And then in the back now, when I put this on, if you look closely, that gap increases to the middle and then reduces. When I put the headliner up, I scribed a line against the rear panel. This is the rear window. Of course, we're upside down. This is the rear window, and I scribed across that panel being this panel right here. So I scribed across the bottom of that panel. Actually, I didn't scribe. I used a Sharpie. Okay, so the bottom of the Sharpie was against that panel, and the width of a Sharpie is somewhere between a 1/16 and an 1/8 of an inch if you got a new Sharpie. And so what I did is I went to the bottom of that Sharpie line and clamped on just some more hardboard, 2 pieces, because it peaks and then goes down. It follows the line perfectly, and you can kind of see a hint of the. There you can see a hint of the Sharpie line underneath it. In any event, and then that gap continues over to here, declines to near zero on each corner. So what I am doing now is getting this prepared. This has got to get filled, right? This has got to get filled in so that when the foam rolls around, again, the width of that Sharpie line allows the foam to compress to roughly an 1/8 of an inch. Between a 1/16 and an 1/8 of an inch, it's 1/8 inch foam, I guess. So that would be my max, or 3 millimeter plus the fabric. And over here, I'll just roll it around and bond it on this side. The foam will go up very slightly and be trimmed on that line. So that'll sit on top of the panel, and these are the edges where it's touching the rear formed corners, and so I don't want it to stand out. So I can come in and I can trim off what I need to trim off based on how it sets on that panel. So at this point, then I'm going to fill this. I'm just going to use fiberglass reinforced filler, and I'll comb down about that far. Okay, then I'll come back and sand it down and block it out. That's the plan. I did get the headliner material in. That's right here. And it is a kind of a beige, a light beige, and it's kind of a modern car look. I went back and forth on whether I should do that or I didn't want to do vinyl, because vinyl, just number one, it carries so much weight on the headliner. Number two, this is a better sound deadener. It is already foam backed, so if I prepare that surface as flat and perfect as I can, that'll sit on there as flat and as perfect as it should be. And then the racetrack will get the complementary color. This is that's the material for the center of the seats. There is a lighter material. It's not that light, but it is lighter. And that'll be the primary color of the seats. And so at this point, I'm getting the headliner done. The upholsterer will do the rest, with the French stitching and all of that on the seats. It's looking like in about a week, this goes to the upholsterer. So between now and then, I just got to finish up a few minor areas of the interior. He's not doing the dash. He's not doing the overhead. I'm doing those. But I'm going to powder coat all of the metal pieces, interior pieces, so they're sealed up on both sides. Don't know if I'll get to those speaker grills at this point, but that's not a big deal. I can make them later. And the rear package tray, the aprons on each side, all those need to be taken out and powder coated. So once I get this bonded up, I'm going to jump on the powder coating filled. I'll jump on the powder coating and get that process underway. Well, time to spread. Yeah. I don't know if I mentioned this, but I sanded the rivets off. So if you recall, I took and epoxied the Z-bar. That's just a carpet Z-bar, right? It's a 1/4 inch offset and tucks in behind there and retains the panel, right? So giving me the opportunity to to sand off the heads of the rivets so that when I talk and work at the same time, anyway, to sand off the heads of the rivets so that I can get a flat surface. I don't want a bunch in here. I just want to fill that little gap so I have a nice straight edge. And then maybe this transition to the panel, you know, the transition to the headliner panel smooths out just a little bit so that you don't see, there's no evidence of an edge. I'm just ever so lightly wondering if I'm going to have enough material. Ever so lightly following the edge of that hardboard, temporary, until I can get a surface. And now I'm setting up, so I think I have enough. I think that'll work just dandy. Now I may need to come back in there and put a little bit of filler on it. Just regular filler, but this fiber reinforced is kind of nice because it bonds like fiberglass, of course. It is all fiberglass materials, but it bonds really well, and it adds some structure. It adds a little structure to it, a little strength. So there. There. Can't believe I can still work it a little bit. I think that's going to work out just dandy. Actually, I don't know that I will need to put anything else on. Yeah, it looks like it. It looks like I will up in the channel here because it drug it through. So I'm going to stop right there, kind of let it cure out, and then probably just take it down with my with a roll lock disc on a 2-inch, and then just throw a little filler on it. Then I can block it real easy because this stuff doesn't block with a chute. You know, it's really hard when it's done. So that's what we got. I'm gonna start setting up the powder coating process and get the pieces hanging and cleaned, and we'll have to get after that here shortly. Okay, I've got my pieces and parts prepped, cleaned. This is about half of them. These are not cleaned, but these are the rear corner panels, and I'll be powder coating those as well, but I've got too many items to put into the oven. The oven's in, it's preheating right now, so I think I can spray these, coat these, and we'll go from there. This is always a cord fiasco. Always. But the process isn't that complicated. Whoa. Okay. Basically, I just want coverage, right? And it actually looks messy, but as long as you don't have a fan going in the shop. One thing I failed to remember, though, is to protect myself. Gee, enemy Christmas. Get myself so excited. They're solids. And you notice watching my videos that I tend to cough a lot because I'm not well disciplined in protecting myself. I like to get a coat down, a full coat. I mean, everything covered first, and then come around with a flashlight, and then do the checks and see where I'm light and that kind of thing. This particular coating, I call it FS. It's a Sherwin-Williams powder, but it looks just like floor sweep. It's kind of a bronze, but for what these are all panel pieces, and because it's not a popular color, I use it for stuff that goes behind, right? There's also this thing called Faraday, and that's where there's current. See, this is grounded. This is I'm turning on the charge with this. Just a shitload of current. It charges the particles, so they stick kind of like a magnet to the metal. They're just electrostatically charged, and when you get up around where the wires are inside crevices and that, it causes Faraday, and you have to fight that by trying to get material in there. Whoop. See, that's a static charge against the wire there from the gun here. And if I get too close to the part itself, of course it'll arc against the part, and it'll just blow the material off the part. And sometimes if you're doing a finish piece, it'll leave a mark. It'll leave an impression on there. It's kind of fun, I guess. To me, I kind of enjoy powder coating. I don't do a boatload of it. Some customer jobs where I'm building a bracket or something that's exposed, especially if it's on the undercarriage, you know, something like that. You want to make sure that you got a good tough coat, you know, and spray paint or even automotive paint, you know, scratches so easy. This stuff is great for stuff like that. There's some Faraday right there. Okay, so now, after I get a coat down on the whole thing, I'm going to turn my ventilator on here. Then I want to just quickly inspect my coverage. Yeah, I got a light spot in there, which makes sense because this is blocking it. I'm light here. Yeah, I got quite a bit of light on this side that's blocking it. That's covered really good. Really good. These are covered really good. Little Faraday on that. So basically, it looks like just run around it one more time just to get a little more build. I'm going to flood it. Powder coat is very directional too. You know, this nozzle attempts to fan it out. Oops. This nozzle attempts to fan it out, but if it didn't, oh, it would just pile up. Never forget the bottom. Oh. Light inside there, light inside there, light inside there. 90-degree bends. Right in the inside corner. Lots of Faraday. Boy, those look good. Okay. Outsides look good. Just the insides. You don't want to put it on super duper heavy either. I mean, it seems like I was probably going pretty heavy there, but you don't really want to get more than 12 mils, which on paint standards, that's like, holy cow, that's a lot. On powder coat, when I worked in manufacturing, I was a manager, and you ain't me Christmas, you'd get some quality departments for some implement manufacturers that we serviced, or construction. You know, we did a lot of construction and implement, and they would want samples and the thickness documentation and sample. They would even destroy the coating on a piece on your first articles. But I mean, that's what that's for, right? But to just simply to check the thickness and make sure that the material, doesn't have anything else underneath it and that kind of thing. Just amazing. That's excellent coating. So at this point, then I take those and I take them to the oven, hang them, set the timer for 20 minutes. What are we at? We're about 325 right now, and climbing, of course. And I'll do that, pull them out, and prep the other pieces. So I went back and looked at the video, and the camera was slowly tipping down. Sorry about that. We'll take a quick look at them here. Okay, whoops, there's my finger. So you'll know, hey, let me get the light. So it's kind of a bronze look. And I call it FS because when you get up in there, it almost looks metallic, but doesn't that look like it's a whole bunch of colors mixed together? It kind of does. Very well could be. But anyway, these are done. I got to pop them in the oven. Alrighty, and there we have it. All the pieces and parts, powder coated, baked. These are for our gazebo. I quickly made some reinforcing brackets for that. These are out of the oven half an hour, 45 minutes ago, about a half an hour ago. And anyway, these are all the brackets for holding the headliner. I'll chase the threads in these. That's just a piece of 1/4 inch, but I'll chase the threads in these. And other than that, everything else just mounts up to hold the headliner up. These pieces then are powder coated. I've got 2 of them in the oven just because of the sheer size. I got to be able to fit them in a 2-foot by 2-foot by 5-foot oven. So, and these are about 4.5 feet. I can just get them above the bottom. And then, of course, those have a long leg on them. So I can get them in and oriented. And they're sitting at 24 minutes before they're cured. So I run them at 35 degrees because of the, it's 35 degrees, 35 minutes. They run at, the recommendations are 20 or 30 minutes, but I bring the oven down, and right now she's sitting right at 400, but I bring the oven down and when I open the door and unload it, so I give it 5 minutes and check it, and that's proven to be very reliable. So, what a marathon, and it's hot in here. Okay, second setup. These just came out. Timer went off. They look bad here. They look spectacular. This is the back side. And then this is the side that gets the vinyl. So they turn out good. Threw the others in the oven. While I was waiting, you can see I'm missing those long straight pieces. I had 22 minutes, so I ran over and mounted those pieces of angle that were sitting here. I mounted those into the ceiling panels on the, there's only 4 of them, on the gazebo. got back and I still had 10 minutes left, so I quickly skim coated that. That turned out really good. That's gonna work out just beautiful. It buried it. I just basically took some 36 and scratched across the surface on the fiber reinforced, the kitty hair, whatever you want to call it, the fiber reinforced filler, and then now I skim coated it. I'll block that out. Just get it to accept the vinyl, but I mean the surface is going to be just dandy. So very happy with it, and we'll keep moving on. This panel bond is a 24-hour cure, so I won't be able to get back into this today, but I will come back and hit these all with like a 50 grit on a roll-lock, and just take them to the surface and then hit them real quickly with filler just to flatten the surface off. And that'll lock everything. Then it'll be locked in, and we're golden. Then I can put the headliner on it. So all is rolling along as planned.